Hello everyone, this is Floxcat and welcome back to another GPReed story theory video, which I actually wasn't expecting to do it so soon. However, due to recent developments, I wanted to go ahead and get it over with. Plus also really today, kind of slow today. I have to get ready for this weekend and I'm still debating whether or not today I'll do a live stream. But let's be real, I'll probably not. Due to reasons. But I will get this up and possibly a Poke movie up soon, to say the least. But today, or at least right now, I'll be talking about a theory video because, really, to be frank, I didn't expect to do a GPReed theory video so soon. However, there has been recent developments that needs to be talked about. There is literally some developments that needs to be talked about. And of course, there are kind of small developments really, but it definitely is big because a lot of things have been coming up, especially with the Naomi. And really, I'm just really in shock of how much this is going to take. So, without further ado, let's figure out what's going on and, plan ahead what we might be seeing here. Before we start, there is kind of a little bit of a quick side note I do want to make. Now, before we get into anything, I want to make it clear that I won't be talking about this since I actually did another video about all this, which will be in the description down below, the Mikey Fairy video. But to catch you up to speed of that and why it's connected is Naomi seems to be literally after, of course, Mikey for some reason. Of course, we don't know, but could be possible that he's the one who's hacking his TARDIS. And he did release a video warning about Naomi, which makes sense since now both him and especially GPReed, which we'll get into in a bit, is definitely now away from them, to say the least. Now, with that being said, what is Naomi planning? Well, at this point, we do not know, but there is a lot that have been revealed since then in two videos. First being, of course, Copper, being, of course, a color, I guess, as he released a video of his own, and then there's, of course, the leader of Naomi, Red. And there's a lot of interesting things about those two videos. Of course, I will be skipping a lot of those videos because I don't usually try to pay attention to the journals because all it is just them blabbing about how they survive and join Naomi, except for Red's because obviously he figured that out. But there are some interesting things to point out with that video. So here's a brief summary of those videos.
Naomi was formed a very long time ago by a group of three powerful houses. Those houses will remain unnamed, for now. Its original purpose was to hide what was necessary and reveal deep truths about the world and the universe at large. This form of Naomi continues today in what we refer to as the old ways. One of the three founding houses brought in a group that changed the core beliefs of the old ways. She wanted to abuse the powers of love and turn them into a weapon to get her way. This is what caused the first schism of Naomi, and thus why the old ways became a lesser group. The new group in power was afraid that this problem would persist and that a repeat of the incident would be imminent if Naomi was not somehow regulated. This is why Soulcorp was first introduced, and thus, Naomi became Soulcorp and the old ways, respectively. However, Naomi had to become more as new problems arose. Modern medical science is very limited. This is not because of a lack of resources or understanding. It's political. Some things are not allowed to be cured, because if they were, some of the special interest groups would lose too much money.
Welcome back, dears. Bronze was so gracious in providing you all with the information necessary to proceed with our public persona. What follows is instruction and explanation. First off, for those who do not know me, I am Red. I am the lead coordinator of Naomi as a whole. I am the one who instructed our sisters, my daughters, to create journals to explain to you what Naomi can do for those who have seemingly lost hope. We felt it necessary to demonstrate what we can do on an individual basis, but also to give examples of what we can do for the world at large. I am not here to give my account of recovery or tell you about my Naomi journey. I am here to tell you about yours. Naomi was once a group of facilities that the wayward soul could seek out for shelter, and while we still offer the facilities, our primary focus now lies in the great consciousness.
Yeah, you guys see why now I had to do this video, because that was a lot. So let me try to bring it down to speed and try to explain what we just heard, because even I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. So apparently, and P.S. again, if you want to watch the full videos, they will be in the description down below. Of course, Naomi's channel, blah blah blah. So apparently, what both of them are saying, they're recalling their backstory, of course. That's pretty much the main draw here, and pretty much you kind of get a feel of what we're dealing with here. So it could be possible, and this is big because this might explain. If you guys remember, a long time ago, at the beginning of this series, according to Grant, there was a group of people who was known for cutting down a chicken. I forgot how that all went. But there was a cult group who was giving out the symbols of the alchemic symbols, including also the symbols that appear also on his toy. That, is very different, but yet they do not seem to belong. This might be the group that Naomi is referring to. Now, I want to make it crystal clear that I don't know if this relates to Ragdoll, and even then, at this point, I can finally confirm that Ragdoll could possibly not be truly part of all this yet. I don't know. All I know is she got a Naomi counterpart, like every freaking other person. But it's definitely very unique in some way. But this does explain that cult in some way. Other than that, though, I don't know. It's basically stuff we have heard about. All we know is that Naomi has 3 houses. And as you'll soon see once I showcase this latest clip, being the last clip, being Grant, apparently there's another one that I haven't heard of. But I know that the first house could be possibly Soul Corp, which actually Lavender is not. They fused together with Lavender. Naomi itself, and possibly one other, I don't know. But there were 3 houses, and then one smaller house got kicked off. Or whatever that personal group got kicked off because it was damaging their reputation, I guess? I don't know. But it is very big, and yeah, they're planning something big, though we do not know. But other than that, it's kind of funny because this just confirms on why Naomi could be problematic, being that, as Copper stated, they couldn't do their medical thing because it was political, aka not really actual politics, but actually because really their things are illegal. Like I've been stating, there could be black marketing surgery, which is actually a real thing in real life sometimes. And this goes back to, again, the reference back to how they do stuff, because as I've shown many times before, if you were to do a brain surgery without an actual doctor, this could be bad. And this is why I'm like, yee, myself, because, oh boy. But it's still to explain what they're planning, because all we know is that Naomi is planning to launch another thing. They're right now after Mikey Lugo for some reason, and all the other Mikeys. And basically, there's not much to say. All I know is that the fact that, like I said in the previous video of Mikey Lugo, it feels like originally I thought they were going to be more like Team Flare in some way, but they're now being more like Ether Paradise, if we're using Pokemon terms, being that they trying to show very good tensions, but honestly crashing and burning with a lot of things. It's really confusing, to say the least, especially when we get to the whole Mikey thing, but again, I already did a video about that. However, we're not done with talking about that video because, as you may notice, there was a bunch of symbolisms. So, starting backwards, first off, there was a bunch of pictures of men and women at the end of that video, which admittedly, I don't know what they could represent. I think there are a lot of symbolics to characters like the Naomi and GPReeds, but the biggest free that admittedly I missed it too until doing a recording. And by the way, I missed this first one because, my freaking Switch is acting up for no reason. Apparently, there was an old lady, an old man, and a baby. And P.S. I don't know how old they are. Don't ask me. It's just the picture of what it is. But obviously, it's supposed to be a mother, a father, and a baby. Another reference to a baby and its family in this series that has been appearing so far. But again, I don't know what that could represent. I mean, my theory is just the characters and another symbolic reference on what's going on here. But the biggest ones I can figure out is the fact that both Copper's and Naomi's, Red, had symbols that are recognizable. The first symbol seen in Copper's video was the bull and the scorpion. Now, as you guys can tell, I'm somewhat of a big fan with astronomy. And I definitely, especially also be a big fan of Beyblade, which surprisingly helped in this cigar. Or scenario. I said cigar, whatever fuck. Those symbols are Lexio and Tartarus. And P.S. if I'm saying them wrong, I'm sorry, I'm saying them probably wrong. But they're constellations, and one of the the constellations, I don't know. Just think of Libra and Aqua. I'm literally constellations. I mean, I know they're constellations. I'm just trying to figure horoscope. Fuck, I forgot the symbol stuff. But basically, as many people will tell you, the horoscope of what you are born into, like for example, I'm born as a Libra, the scale, and those two are very interesting because those are part of that horoscope. If I'm saying, I don't even know how you actually say those correctly, but you can correct me in the comments because I keep forgetting. But I do know those are the constellations of Lexio and Tartarus. Now, I don't know if they're really going to more astronomy-based thing, because this ain't a surprise that they have used astronomy as a symbolism in this series. But without the astronomy effect, this could be interesting, as bulls, even without the astronomy, represents rage, and scorpions represent dangerous and poison. So there could be a relatement towards that. I can see it, but again, all I can see, jumping a gun, all I can see is maybe I need to do another symbolism theory video on explaining constellations, because that could be cool. But either way, it's more representation of alchemistry and astronomy, which is not a surprise after we've seen it before. And also on the bottom, they also show the moon with the sun, another symbol which we actually saw before. Not in the series, but also in my symbolism. Because again, sun and moon. And by the way, as for the symbol that's rolling around in Copper's face, I have no idea what that could represent. I'm thinking a black hole, but then again, it could be a symbol. But I know, it is a symbol. I just don't know what it could represent. And the same thing could be said for Red's background. But here's the thing. Unlike Copper's main big symbol in front of his face, that symbol behind Red in her video is familiar to me. I think I've seen that symbol before, but as you can jokingly tell, I have no fucking idea what that symbol is, to be honest. It could be another chemistry symbol, but it is a symbol, and I'll probably look it up later and try to find out what that symbol is. But at this point, I don't know. But the 4 symbols by her around same way as the constellations, definitely those I can recount, and it's pretty easy to not miss and understand what those symbols are. The first one is a man wearing a hat, obviously a reference to GPReed and the series, and it could be a reference to Point of Grant, or it could be his boss, since the skull guy also wears a hat. The owl, which really, we don't even need to go into details of that, especially since they copy an owl and pretty much whatever aura bird is making a fat turkey aura to crush everything. I still cannot help but wonder that. And that is also another question as well. Who's that new aura? Because that is definitely a big thing. But anyways, yeah, bird and owl, especially since of wisdom and all that, which I might actually have to do another similar video on that as well. Then we get to, of course, the Mercury symbol, which we don't even need to go too far in it. It's just more reference to alchemistry, which again is something they know, especially since Mercury is also known for fine medicine. That's what the snake and the wings represent. And the last one, I'm trying to think, the last one was just the moon symbol with the sun again. So yeah, or just basic moon, I don't know. But still, those symbols are not surprising, but it is interesting that they're focused. But to put it all, this is just another, give us a inside story behind who's Naomi is. But it's definitely interesting because this thing did reveal a lot, or give us hints that something big has happened. Again, it's not a lot, but it is something we can work on, and the only thing I can theorize from there is now we know that there's another part of Naomi, or rather there were 3 parts, and Soul Corp is possibly one of them. Lavender was just combined with Soul Corp, and apparently it could be possible that the cult by Grant that wasn't part of Naomi could be was with Naomi, but later fall out. Though again, we do not know. Anyways, and one more thing. As you guys may jokingly notice, Red looks very different than where he first appeared. Because remember, he called me out, of course. And apparently, originally, hold on. Alright, sorry about that. A guy just walked by, as usual. He's just going to go whenever. So if I see him again, he'll probably be walking back up. I don't know. I don't want to explain it. But anyways, back to what I was saying. The interesting part of that is now Naomi, the Red Naomi, is no longer using the puppeteer. Because remember, the puppeteer, the one that tells fortunes, the one that I did reverse speech on, he used that beforehand to call me out, if we recall. Which I'm surprised they haven't called me out again yet, but we'll see. And the interesting part about this is that now we can see her, and she's kind of in a wheelchair kind of thing. I don't know what that could be represent, but then again, it's very mundane. And by the way, another thing, which I just thought of this now and just realized, that copper guy, his face was a face we saw way back during the beginning of this series, which was her first video, or one of her few videos. That's interesting, to say the least. I don't think it has any significance to say, but it's definitely interesting. But I just want to point that out. Anyways, now finally we're going to get into the last bit, which is nothing too major, especially when you consider that this is just Grant video, but there is something I want to call out that he said in the latest live stream he did, which, P.S., by the way, side note, I want to thank him for at least trying to watch my Mandela catalog. I understand why he had to skip it because, let's be real, I talked too much, and even then, it was just a completely new series, as you can see. And that's understandable because really, I might even have to do another full look into series of that catalog, but who knows. But anyways, there is one major thing he said towards the end, which is very big.
Yeah, I could go with the Naomi video. Because on the Naomi stuff, you all know that I'm just told what to put in there. I don't really, I'm not really given any details. They give me the files, as you saw in that folder, and I edit them, put them out. So it sounds like Naomi is 3 different organizations now. Like, they started as one thing, and then people kept messing it up and corrupting it, and then they had to split a bunch of times into, let's see, it was the Old Ways, James Medical Division, and Soul Corp. And then Soul Corp merged with Lavender Concepts to make them all powerful or something. And it sounds like they're just now about to do something big. Like, everything else was leading into this, whatever they're about to do. I'm probably going to stop collaborating with them. I've met up with a new person. He's actually got a video that I'm going to put out on the Naomi channel while I still have access. I hope they're not watching this. But he's called something Neighbor. And this Neighbor, I'm going to give him the information from the Naomi accounts and emails and everything they gave me so that he can see what they're up to. Maybe we can bust them before they actually do something dangerous, because they don't exactly seem like good people. So, hope.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty interesting. Side note, if you're wondering why he said that, that wasn't even like that is a real thing. Naomi is connected to GPReed, but it also is the actual person running the account, not him. Just FYI note. But yeah, that's actually very interesting, as that kind of is a good fourth wall break. Side note, but it makes sense. I already figured out that was actually another person, but we won't get into that because I already went into that before, and it's a long story happening what happened last month. But the major thing why I pull that out, other than it just confirmed what those other 2 are, but I know Soul Corp was one of them, is the fact that there's a brand new person into this, and he called himself Neighbor. Now, let's get the elephant out of the room. I do not know if this is connected to the whole dad feels thing, because, let's be real, we already dealt with symbolism there. We always see freaking me with freaking, Valentine showing off my Pokemon cards there. I don't know. But the bigger interesting thing is what's Grant's plan is, which, okay, be fair, I wouldn't put that on the internet, to say the least. But okay, if Naomi does see it, oh boy. But yeah, it's pretty clear that, as stated, Grant and Mikey are trying to get away from Naomi, which makes sense because I was the only person not truly affected by this whole Naomi crap. Because, let's be real here, I was more of this straight person throughout this, and these 2 apparently appeared on Naomi's channel. I don't know why. Just saying. But it's definitely very interesting, and I can't wait to see what this could do, how this will go. I wonder who this new Neighbor is. But that's all I have for this video. And again, it's not big revelations, the only big revelation being that, or rather 2 being that there's a new character called Neighbor, which who knows if it's connected to that feels or he just named himself after that. Or of course, being that Naomi's once had a group that could be separate, and it could be possible that that's the same group who show off those symbols to Grant, and the one during the time where he was digging up holes because of reasons. Either way, it's definitely interesting, but I guess the big thing is that in the end of the day, it's definitely going to be big. I'll keep my eye out. But before we end this video, here's a fun note to end on. which is literally the best Nintendo rant I ever seen.
It is $49.99. That's a $30 increase. $30 for a handful of Nintendo 64 games and a handful of Genesis games.